Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're doing fine. In this video, I'm going to explain what Rigath's new strategy is and why are we doing this. Because the expectation was that Rigathi was to go quiet after impeachment and rejuvenate, revive himself. And actually, he made statements that pointed to a quiet life. He said, if I was the problem, I'm now out. I'm living my private life as a private citizen. Focus, deliver for the people. If I was the one that you were blaming. But I think something happened in Embu. Rigathi had expected Uhuru Kenyatta to join forces with him and to attack William Ruto and Kindiki, help him destroy William Ruto and Kindiki from the mountain. But it seemed that the opposite happened, and Uhuru Kenyatta was very cozy with Kindiki and and William Ruto. In fact, Kioni, who purports to speak for Uhuru, lauded that Kindiki was supposed to have been the deputy from day one, and so this somehow has triggered Rigathi Gachagua, and he seems to be scared, if you may. So he has decided now he is going to also mobilize people around him. He is no longer preaching Uhuru this, Uhuru that. He has promised a political duel like never seen before. I don't think this political duel in Mount Kenya, he was pointing to other communities because Ruto, I think, knows that Mount Kenya is no longer with him. It's gone. So what Rigathi was referring to when he was saying that 2022 202 will be like a joke, I think he was referring to when Uhuru Kenyatta and Mwai Kibaki were facing each other. So he wants a situation where he's going to be the kingpin of Mount Kenya. And that is what we want to look at. We want to look at this strategy. Is it something that can work or it will flop again? Because remember, most of the strategy Rigathi has come up with have flopped. He decided to blackmail the president, uh, banging tables on him, believing that he was untouchable. He was impeached as if he was a nobody by overwhelming majority of MPs who he had threatened that they would lose their seat. They didn't care. They impeached him nonetheless. And Rigathi also expected that the country was going to go into chaos. In fact, he's the one who said that impeaching him would destabilize the country. Nothing happened. Nobody even cared. Even his own Madeira village, nobody went there on rampage. And so most of the strategies Rigathi has come up with, they fail, apart from one that has a chance to succeed. And if it succeeds, it will make Rigathi Gachagua invincible. If you are interested in that topic, stay tuned. And if you are watching for the first time, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Ladies and gentlemen, like I was saying, most of the strategies Rigathi has come up with, they have failed. But there's one that looks like it has a possibility of succeeding. The strategy of turning Mount Kenya into another Luo Nyanza. Let me explain. In Luo Nyanza, one leader decides the fate of the community, politically speaking. So if Raila is supporting Ruto today, majority of Luos are going to support Ruto. If Raila said tomorrow that he no longer recognizes President Ruto and he doesn't support him, I tell you, even people who have been saying Ruto is better, etc., will start saying, I don't like that thief, I don't do what. So it is always trickle down. The leader decides what the community should think and how they should behave. In Mount Kenya, it has been the opposite. It's been the people at the ground deciding this is what we want for ourselves, and then the leaders have to toe the line. Okay? So in 2018, Uhuru brings in Raila on board. Kikuyus rebel with that. Uhuru doesn't think that the people have a say, that he believes that he's the one who's supposed to tell them what to do. He learns the hard lesson. These people vote against Uhuru's will. Rigathi wants a situation where he will be the one to determine the fate of Mount Kenya, politically speaking. He wants to be that real kingpin, not one that is ordered by the people, but the one that directs what the people do. And how is he going to do this, ladies and gentlemen? Rigathi, of late, has been addressing the crowd via phones. He waits, let's say somebody's having a musical event somewhere. Rigathi would send one of his people and say, Rigathi wants to talk to you, and the people would go wild when he talks over the phone. In fact, yesterday, he did try something. He went to a concert, and he was not given a chance to speak. And then the people started walking out. So some people are saying they walked out because they didn't want to hear speeches of a tribalist. Others are saying they walked out because their kingpin was not given a chance. Whatever the case, that event went into chaos because Rigathi was there. Okay, it tells you, and based on what you see on the ground, majority of the people on the ground are feeling that Rigathi Gachagua is a victim, one of their own who has been shown, who has been betrayed, has been persecuted, and so they're standing with him. And I think Rigathi is planning to take advantage of that. Okay, is planning to take advantage of that sympathy and turn himself into a kingpin and a real one, the one that decides the fate of the Mount Kenya. So that it won't be like Mount Kenya people decide for Rigathi what to do and he has to toe the line. It will be the opposite. He decides what Mount Kenya should do, how they should live their life, and then their work would be, yes, sir. Why do I say it has a chance of succeeding? You see, how did the Odingas succeed to convince Luos to take political orders from them? By first of all creating the siege mentality, that Luos are hated and the only person that was fighting for them were the Odingas, that every other Luo that was working with the enemies was a collaborator and somebody who did not mean well. So majority of Luos saw themselves as special people who were being hated for being special and hated by every other community and would have been destroyed if it were not for the Odingas. And that is how, ladies and gentlemen, Odingas got control of the Luos. And it is going to be difficult to change that perception because you are born into that. You grow up knowing that it is the Odingas who stood tall and defended the community against foreign enemies, whether it was governments or what. And that is what Rigathi is doing today. Rigathi is creating a notion that Kikuyus are very special people and they are being hated for being that. And actually, you can even talk to an ordinary Kikuyu today and they will tell you, we know we are hated. We know we are hated. We know that people hate us. People don't like us. We are special people. And with that notion, once Rigathi manages to create siege mentality, that is the only one who is standing between Ruto and Kikuyus. That Ruto wants to destroy that community, that other people are planning, Railas of this world are planning to destroy Kikuyus and make them useless and destroy everything they have worked hard to achieve. And Rigathi is the one fighting. They will toe the line. They will listen to everything Rigathi says. I tell you, I have seen that happening, not just in Kenya. It happens world over, where a specific leader becomes the real kingpin. And when I say real kingpin, I'm talking of a leader whose word is law. And today, I can tell you Raila's word. I don't like saying it. I am one person who was opposed to Raila Odinga. But I tell you, I go home to my parents, and you find that the word of Raila Odinga is law, literally law. If he says Ruto is a good person today, he is a good person. If he says he's a bad person tomorrow, trust me, even people who were praising him yesterday are going to tell you he's the worst person they have ever seen since the beginning of this world. And Rigathi is on that course. If he manages to create siege mentality in Mount Kenya and make these people believe that the likes of Uhuru, the likes of Kabogo, Ichung'wa, Moses Kuria, these are collaborators who are trying to sell our community. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, without fear of doubt, without any fear of doubt, that Rigathi Gachagua is going to turn Mount Kenya from the ones deciding what their leaders are doing to the ones taking orders from a special leader. And Rigathi being very over-ambitious, and shamelessly so, I have to say, will not stop at just controlling the people. He will use them as a bargaining tool, political bargaining tool against other leaders. If Kalonzo would want the support of Mount Kenya, it will be like, how much are you giving me as Rigathi Gachagua? I have 12 people I want you to appoint. He will use the community as a bargaining tool. Interesting thing is, for 60 years, Luo Nyanza has been under the control of a family, the Odingas. Absolute control, politically speaking. For that 60 years, Mount Kenya has been deciding for themselves, have been deciding what the leaders do, not taking orders from the leaders. Now that the Odingas are retiring and Luos are starting to embrace that political independence, deciding what is good for the community, Rigathi is working hard to take over and turn Mount Kenya to now start being what Luo Nyanza was. And if he succeeds, ladies and gentlemen, he will be untouchable. I tell you that. Rigathi will be untouchable. If he succeeds to turn Mount Kenya into accepting his dictates, he will be untouchable. He will be one person that would say yes and you all say yes. If he says no and you all say no. And considering how Mount Kenya is vote rich, this guy will be unstoppable. Now, the question is, what are these chances? Because I'm saying he has chances of winning, of turning Mount Kenya into this. What if this does not work? If it does not work, then he will be hated the most by the same people that who are cheering him now. Because let's say Mount Kenya actually does not want to be under some king, and they want the political freedom they have been enjoying of making decisions, choosing their own leaders based on whatever it is criteria they use. Rigathi will find himself in problems because very soon they will reject everything he says and he will be a nobody. And considering he can't vie, that will be very bad. He will go into political oblivion. But if he succeeds, and deep down Mount Kenya has always wanted to be controlled and they've always wanted this one leader who tells them anything, he will be invincible. So that is the strategy, ladies and gentlemen. Turn Mount Kenya into some small kingdom where Rigathi is the king, his words are law, and whatever it is, and he begins with the community for personal needs. If you found this useful, ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comment section below. If you think there's another strategy that I have not covered, let me know also. Otherwise, drop a like, share this video with friends, and thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video. Let's meet in the next one.